Is there anything we can do to speed up the expansion of our consciousness?
It's a bit cliche, but you can't be ready before you're ready. So, I mean, I'm not aware of the things that I'm not aware of, until I'm aware of them, because for whatever reason, I then have the capacity to integrate that information, that knowledge, in a way that's in alignment with my overall journey, my overall consciousness, so that I don't disintegrate, so that I don't become, lose my mind in a way. So, in a way, you could say, no, there's never, you can't rush ahead of yourself. But by simply having a strong desire to, because I've achieved, in a sense, more of those levels of consciousness than most people have, seemingly. So why is that at my early age that I'm able to do that? I'd say that the ingredient that has sped this up, other than a very strong inclination ever since I can remember, is the strength of my intention, or not strength, but the sense of nothing else matters, and like, I have to figure this out. I want to know these things. I want to understand this. So the stronger your drive is, the stronger your desire is, the faster the process of integration, becoming aware of new stuff and then integrating that, becoming aware of new levels and then integrating that, becoming aware of new frequency domains within your own consciousness and other people's consciousness and the collective consciousness, and then integrating that. But this is a gradual process, because it wouldn't make sense for a kid to suddenly have all the information of a top-level accountant. Like, if a 4-year-old kid would suddenly know all that information, it wouldn't have any, like you say, it wouldn't have any cabinets to file it in. The integration process would not serve it. And since we all have that deeper aspect of our consciousness, which we could loosely call our higher mind, perhaps, that higher mind sort of is in charge of guiding us through these processes of life, one step at a time, at a pace that we are comfortable with integrating. So you will find that you will not, even if you have a desire to know certain things, you're not always shown these things immediately. They will then unfold over time, because you don't have those cabinets yet. You don't have the capacity yet to integrate that properly. So yes and no, there's a way to speed it up actively, which is simply to reinstate the intention more vividly, to really, not even the intention, because you already have the intention, otherwise you wouldn't be asking the question, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this interview. So the intention is there. The intention for evolution of consciousness, for expansion of consciousness, is there. What is required is that you prioritize that above all else, or above a lot of other things, at least. If the prioritization has not taken place yet, if you've not seen very clearly within yourself what is truly important to you versus all the other things that might be nice, but they're not as important to you, then you're not really honing your vibrational frequency to the point where you can actually have the preciseness, the accurateness, the focus to penetrate into those newer layers of consciousness, be them subconscious or unconscious, or simply new material. Then you will not have that power. You cannot hammer a piece of paper into the wall, but you can hammer a nail into the wall very easily. It doesn't require any effort. So the more specific, the more precise you have become in your prioritization of self, of what's truly important to you, what's truly important to your life, what's truly important to the world, perhaps, if that at all plugs into your personal theme as well, like what's important for this collective, which is very relevant for my questioning for myself, then you will find the crystallization of that intensity, of that intention, of that desire to form sort of like a one-pointedness that very easily penetrates those levels. So I'd say the way to accelerate this intentionally is to, yes, understand that you have to surrender. You have to let it come when it comes, when you're ready for it. But you can do whatever you can to be ready for it, to be in that receptive state. And the receptive state is usually not like, sometimes, but it's not usually the picture of being couch potato, for example. It's more like a readiness without anxiety. It's like the readiness to receive without the demand or the insistence that it should come now or it should come in this particular way, So it's this joining, sort of this higher energy descending upon you, if you want to visualize it in that way, which can only be received and surrendered to, that higher cosmic guidance or consciousness. But in order to receive it, you cannot just be closed off and watching your favorite television show. It can come in that way too. sometimes that's the perfect way to get it. But when it comes to really penetrating more rapidly new levels of consciousness, new layers of consciousness, the meeting point needs to be brought up a notch, so to speak. So that's a combination of surrender and willingness or readiness, the readiness to receive, to be in that sort of high frequency, non-anxiety mode of enhanced perception where you have this clarity of knowing your priority. And when you're in the awareness of what's truly important to you, you're in the vibrational state of that prioritized intention, and then that level of consciousness can sort of unveil itself to you and be integrated consequently.